Real quick before this video starts, I just want to mention that I will be bringing different games to the channel, different content. Any games that I feel like making videos on, I'll make videos on them. I've really been liking this new Madden thing that I started. It is a 0 overall rebuild. It's definitely more casual, less serious than the other Madden videos, and that should be out in a couple days. But another thing that I want to mention is that this video was recorded on 2 hours of sleep, so hopefully it's not too bad. There are some mess ups, but they're pretty easily understandable what I was meaning to say, so hopefully that's not too bad. And yeah, let's just get right into the video. Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Filoki, and we're back here with some Madden 20 simulations. So I had a request to do Teddy Bridgewater on the Panthers, and I did do the PJ Walker Panthers thing, but I didn't actually do anything on Teddy Bridgewater, so I thought it'd be interesting to actually give him a go, because Teddy Bridgewater always is really good in the Madden Sims, so seeing what he could do would be pretty interesting, because PJ Walker, he did pretty well, so Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, a simulation god, we'll just see what he can do. Teddy Bridgewater, he did very good for the Saints last year, and he earned himself a big contract with the Panthers. And the Panthers have kind of put it on him to lead the team now that Cam Newton is gone. And yeah, so basically, as you can see, the team is what it is currently. I think the roster that I'm using has the first 4 rounds of the draft class actually put in there. As you can see with Brown and Gross Matos. I don't really know who the Panthers ended up drafting, but I'm going to switch this to a 4-3 because that seems like what their scheme would fit more. So I'm just going to throw it to whatever 4-3 has the best rating. So I'll just go with the base 4-3. So we're going to go with that because they drafted a defensive tackle early in the draft, and I'd assume they want him to play. So that'll be the squad. I'm not making any other changes. And yeah, we're just going to get right into it and see how they can do. So here at week 1 of the 2020 season, it says 2019 obviously because it's Madden, but this would be the 2020 season in real life. So here at week 1, the Panthers ended up going 1-3 in the preseason. I can't show it because they just get rid of all the preseason stats once you sim to week 1. But after going 1-3 in the preseason, hopefully they'll be able to pick it up in the regular season. I'm going to sim to mid-season, see how Teddy Bridgewater is doing, see how the team is doing, and then we'll see what they can do. Can they get to the playoffs? Who knows? We just have to wait and find out. All right, so here at mid-season, unfortunately, the Panthers are 2-5. They've been doing very poorly this season. 2-5. They are the bottom of their division. I mean, it's a very strong division. The Buccaneers and the Saints in the same division. I don't think the Panthers will actually be winning the division, but they might be able to make it to the wild card. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's not helping the team out too much. He's almost dead last in yards, and he's 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's been playing very poorly. Christian McCaffrey, he's been playing very well, 5.9 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. The leading receiver is Curtis Samuel with 450 and 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore is actually doing pretty poorly, 202. So, I mean, honestly, it's seeming like the defense is the biggest problem. Our leader in sacks is 3 sacks, 2.5 being second, and there are absolutely 0 interceptions on the season. So, defense has been playing very poorly, so has Teddy Bridgewater. So, it's just a big mess of a season at this current moment. All right, so here at week 17, the Panthers, they're 7-8, so they've definitely picked it up. But with the Buccaneers at 9-6 and the Saints at 10-5, it doesn't look like the Panthers are getting to the playoffs whatsoever. The Saints are our matchup in week 17, so seeing what will happen in that matchup. If we win, I mean, there is technically a chance we could be the second wild card, but I don't think we will be because, I mean, 8-8 doesn't seem like a wild card team, especially since the Buccaneers will probably go 10-6 and be a wild card team. But anyway, let's just sim through this week 17. We'll probably lose, but yeah, we end up losing and we don't make the playoffs. I think Teddy Bridgewater has another year on his deal, so since this was such a lackluster season, I will continue and see what Teddy Bridgewater can do next year. All right, before I actually get into next season, I completely forgot to show player stats. Teddy Bridgewater, he had 3,000 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He didn't do very well. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he had an amazing year, 9 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 5.5 per carry. Receiving, DJ Moore definitely picked it back up. He started to lead the team. And Curtis Samuel, who I believe was number 1 at one point, really dropped down. Defensively, we did end up getting an interception. We ended up getting 3 interceptions on the season, but the sacks remained low. I mean, everyone kind of just shared the sack production, but no real, like, 10-sack players. I mean, Brian Burns typically is a 10-sack person. I don't know what's up with that, but we just got to see what happens next year because this year was just a complete wash. And if anyone was interested, as you can see in the top left, the Cowboys ended up beating the Browns in the Super Bowl 17-12, and somehow the Cowboys went from 8-8 to Super Bowl. So, I mean, I guess Cowboys fans can really look up to that, and it's not going to happen though. So, all right, so in the draft, looking at the draft recap, in the first round, we picked up a very good free safety in Dion Cates, a hit in development, 77 overall. So he might be able to bring some impact next season, but overall, it's just kind of a normal draft for a CPU. A 67 hidden wide receiver could be decent, but overall, it's mainly just the free safety. All right, so going into season 2 of the simulation, the Panthers ended up going 2-2 in the preseason, and if we go and look at the team, the offense has basically stayed exactly the same, and defensively, the free safety that they ended up drafting, I put him at strong safety since he is a hybrid, but we are keeping mostly the same team. So, I mean, now it's just simming once again, 2-2 in the preseason, better than last year. Maybe they can at least improve in the regular season as well. All right, so here at midseason, as you can see, the Panthers are 3-4. That's better than they were last year, but still not great, seeing as though they are third in their division. But something that I thought was interesting when I simmed, I saw that Dion Cates had gotten ability unlocked, and if we go and look at the defense, he's a superstar X Factor. The CPU drafted a superstar X Factor. That's insane. That's a great pickup. And honestly, the wide receiver they drafted as well has been progressing relatively quick for a number 4 wide receiver, so he might be a pretty decent dev trade as well. But yeah, 3-4. Let's go look at some stats. Once again, third in their division, but it's a very, very stacked division. Teddy Bridgewater, once again, dead last in yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So I don't know what the problem is right now, but he is not doing as well as he normally does in the sim. Rushing, Christian McCaffrey, 6.3 per carry. He's doing very good. Receiving, DJ Moore, number 1 on the team, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, not bad. Defensively, we actually have interceptions this year. Sacks are still pretty low. I don't know why the sacks are so low, but interceptions, we're doing all right. So hopefully we can maybe pick up the offensive end and the defensive end and at least go 8-8 or something above that. Maybe make the playoffs as a wild card. Who knows? But I will see you at the end of the season. Alright, so here at the end of the season, it's not looking like the Panthers are going to the playoffs. They are last in their division, and if we sim this week, since it doesn't really matter when it comes to going to the playoffs, we end up winning, making us 7-9, but we are still last in the NFC South, with the Buccaneers being 8-8, the Saints 10-6, and the Falcons 12-4. Now, if we go to the stats, Teddy Bridgewater, he's just consistently really low in the league when it comes to all of his stats. He's 31st in yards and 24th in touchdowns. So honestly, he hasn't been playing too well. I mean, his interceptions are relatively low, but his touchdowns and his yards are very low. Rushing wise, Christian McCaffrey somehow did better than he did last year. Receiving, DJ Moore, 900 yards, 12 touchdowns. He did very good. Defensively, I mean, not great sack production when it comes down to it. Better than last season, though. And interceptions are much better than last season. So it really just seems like Teddy Bridgewater has been struggling to get anything going with this offensive scheme. I will check and see if Teddy Bridgewater does have another year on his contract in this roster, because I don't know exactly what his contract is in real life, but I do think that it's more than 2 years, but I'm not sure what this roster has it as. So if this roster does have him with another year of his contract, I will continue this simulation, and he does have another year, so I will do the last year of the simulation, make it a 3-year sim, and see how we can do next year. And for anyone that is interested, the Seahawks ended up beating the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and I mean, I'm pretty interested in that. I'm a Seahawks fan. I think that's pretty cool, 35-28. I mean, I'll take the Seahawks getting another Super Bowl. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not, but I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it. And with yet another pretty high pick, the Panthers end up going with another safety. I mean, it worked out for them last year. They got a superstar X Factor safety, and he's 21, hidden development, and I mean, decent speed, decent zone coverage. He could be all right. Everyone else in the class is pretty lackluster, but 2 years in a row, good safeties in the draft. I mean, let's just go to next season, see what happens. Alright, so going into Season 3, we did have it as a vertical power run, and I don't know how much of a difference it'll make, but I'm going to go to a vertical zone run since it has a better percentage scheme fit. Maybe that'll help Teddy Bridgewater do something, but overall, I mean, same offense. Defense is pretty decent. We have two good safeties now. We have the superstar X Factor, Dion Cates, and now we have the new strong safety that they drafted. And I mean, honestly, the team's not too different, especially on the offensive end. So Teddy Bridgewater, he just needs to do something. I think he's been below 30th when it comes to yards both years that we simulated. So hopefully he'll continue to not do that. Maybe he'll change it up. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'll see you at midseason. All right, so here at midseason, the Panthers are actually 6-1. Surprisingly enough, they're the top of their division. They're playing very well. I don't know if it's the switch to a vertical zone run or what, but Teddy Bridgewater is still dead last in passing yards, and he's not very high in touchdowns, but his interceptions are low. Christian McCaffrey is just somehow progressing and doing even better than he did last season. 6.8 per carry. Receiving, DJ Moore, he's doing decent. The yards are definitely way down. The defense, it's all right. It's all right. Not as good as last year it was, but sacks are up from last year. Interceptions are down, but honestly, they're winning games. Teddy Bridgewater, he might not be having the best statistical year, but they're winning games. And there's a breakout player. Interestingly enough, this is McKinley, the right end that we ended up picking up in free agency. I'll just send this 1 week and see if he ends up getting that. I don't know what he needed. I think he needed like 2 sacks, I'd assume. Breakout player. Let's just see if he ended up getting it. And he was disappointed. So he did not get it. But I'm going to see you at the end of the season with the Carolina Panthers, who just won yet another game. All right, so here around the end of the season, the Panthers are actually 11-3, and I did stop it 1 week earlier because there is yet another breakout player chance, and it is Shaq Thompson, pretty decent player to get it. He would go to a superstar, which would help in a playoff run if we ended up making it there, which we probably will. But let's just see, did he end up getting it? We did win 22-7, and yeah, he did. He actually ended up getting it. So Shaq Thompson did get the superstar dev trait, and it's guaranteed that we make the playoffs now. We have done very well this season, 12-3. Let's just sim to the wild card, and then we'll look at some season stats. And in the wild card, although we lost to the Patriots, we do have a first round bye. 12-4 was the record. Falcons had 11-5. We led the NFC South. And by we, I mean the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater still did not play well. He was last in passing yards, second last in passing touchdowns. He did only have 5 interceptions, so turnovers were low. Rushing-wise, Christian McCaffrey somehow did better than he did last season. 16 touchdowns, 1,700 yards, just crazy numbers. DJ Moore, 800 yards, 9 touchdowns. I mean, just they're both playing very well defensively. I think the team has definitely picked it up since first season. The sacks still are very spread out, but the interceptions are definitely better than they were the first season. Second season, they were much better than this, but overall, I mean, can't complain. We won 12 games, so we do have a first round bye, and I'll just continue to sim 1 game at a time when we actually get to the divisional round. All right, so here in the divisional round, we are actually going against the 9-7 Saints, who were the 3rd in our division. So interestingly enough, there were 3 teams from the same division in the playoffs this year. And if anyone was curious, the strong safety that we drafted last offseason was a star dev. He didn't get anything higher than that. But I'm just gonna sim this week and see what we do. Hopefully we can win this game. We're 12-4 against a 9-7 team, so I'd hope we win and we end up winning. Weekly awards, if we go to that, DJ Moore ended up getting 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. McKinley ended up getting 2 sacks, so not bad whatsoever. We ended up playing well. We won the game, but now we're going against the Cowboys, and Madden loves the Cowboys, especially in the Sims, so it's going to be interesting to see if we can beat them. But if we do beat them, we go to the Super Bowl, so just cross our fingers, see if Teddy Bridgewater can do something. And we did end up win. We're going to the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills. And now I'm going to upgrade the players. I mean, we have a lot of upgrades to be made. And I will get to the Super Bowl week, and we'll actually do a play-by-play sim and see how it ends up going through there. and it's looking like it's going to be a loss. The Bills have just gone on a run in the fourth quarter, and they got another touchdown, I think, off an interception. But it's 38-13. It looks like the game is over. Unfortunately, it's going to do it for the Panthers season. And as you can see, the Bills are now going to celebrate the Super Bowl. Teddy Bridgewater was unable to do it. He was unable to win the Super Bowl for the Panthers, but he did have a good season. I mean, he didn't have a good season, but the Panthers did. They went 12-14, made it to the Super Bowl, and ended up losing. They played well in the first half. They ended up having a lead to go into halftime, but they completely and utterly choked when it came to the second half. And there's Teddy Bridgewater, very disappointed at his performance, and I assume he probably didn't do too well this game. So let's just skip this celebration and see what Teddy Bridgewater ended up doing. And yeah, 200 yards, 0 touchdowns. He probably had an interception. Yep, he had the interception at the end of the game. Christian McCaffrey, he had 8.6 per carry. There's nothing he can do more. He had 2 touchdowns, 8.6 per carry. I mean, he was doing very well. DJ Moore had 69 yards. Ian Thomas had 79. The defense, did they have any sack production? I mean, we had a decent amount of sacks. We had 3 sacks. Interceptions wise, we didn't get any. But really, I think it really comes down to just choking in the second half. We were up 13-10 in the second, or going to halftime, and in the second half we got outscored 28-7. So very disappointing. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, he played pretty disappointing the entirety of this series. But not the series, but this video, he ended up playing pretty disappointingly. I don't think he was top 30 in the league in yards any season, but overall, I mean, that's going to do it for this video. It was pretty interesting. The first 2 seasons were pretty disappointing, but it got very interesting that last season. But if we go and look at the player stats, I just want to confirm, because I know in the last 2 years, he was not top 30, and once he was dead last. He ended up being dead last in passing yards. I think this is actually the postseason. No, it's not. This is regular season. He was dead last in passing yards, dead last in touchdowns. Or second to last in touchdowns. He did not play very well this entire simulation, but the Panthers did find success in that last year, but it was not enough. They ended up losing in the Super Bowl. But that's going to do it for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you liked, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.